Roman Reigns returns to WWE as a babyface. 3 names rumored to replace Paul Heyman as the Bloodline's new Wiseman. Solo Sikoa needs to be punished if he is lying about talking to Roman Reigns. Let's dive right in. WWE Hall of Famer Paul Heyman has been a huge part of the Bloodline ever since its formation, as he has been serving as the Wiseman of the Samoan faction since then. However, things have taken a dramatic shift within the faction ever since Roman Reigns went on a hiatus, and Solo Sikoa presided over as the leader of the stable. Heyman and Sikoa do not seem to be on the same page, as there have been tensions between the two. The 58-year-old veteran does not seemingly agree with the Enforcer's ideologies and what the latter has been doing in Reigns' absence. Regardless, the Wiseman has been bound with the group due to his trepidation. It could be a matter of time before Paul Heyman gets kicked out of the Bloodline, as Solo Sikoa may not be able to stand him. Let's first look at 3 names who can potentially replace Heyman as the Bloodline's new Wiseman. Number 1. WWE legend Haku, one of the prominent names that can be the best replacement for Paul Heyman within the Bloodline is WWE legend Haku. Since he has a personal connection with the members of the Samoan faction, the 65-year-old could become the Wiseman of the Solo Sikoa-led faction if Heyman is kicked out of the stable. For those unaware, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa are the sons of Haku, as they belong to the Tongan bloodline. Therefore, their real-life relationship could make it an ideal scenario for the pro wrestling veteran to manage the heel faction under Solo Sikoa's leadership. This will add a new dimension to the Bloodline saga, which is currently being led by the Enforcer, and potentially create a compelling scenario. Number 2, WWE Superstar MVP is one of the names who could be eligible to become the Wiseman of Solo Sikoa's new Bloodline. The 50-year-old is a veteran in the industry and is a connoisseur when it comes to managing superstars and elevating them on the roster. Therefore, he could do the same with the Bloodline, but in a new role. MVP could replace Paul Heyman, reside over as the new Wiseman of the heel faction, and take the stable to new heights. MVP's alliance may prove to be one of the best decisions and could benefit Solo Sikoa, thus guiding him to the right path. This will pave the way for a compelling storyline on SmackDown. Number 3, WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi. One of the best possible names to replace Paul Heyman and become the new Wiseman of the Bloodline is Rikishi. The WWE Hall of Famer is a member of the legendary Anoa'i family and is also Solo Sikoa's father, which would pave the way for an authentic storyline to emerge in the Stamford-based promotion. While speaking on his Rikishi Fatu Off the Top podcast recently, the Samoan Stinker also expressed the possibility of replacing Paul Heyman in the new Bloodline, led by his son. The 58-year-old becoming the Wiseman of the heel faction could give rise to a new chapter of the Bloodline and sow the seeds for the great battle of the Samoans. Solo Sikoa needs to be punished if he is lying about talking to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is on a well-deserved break from WWE following WrestleMania 40 Night 2. In his absence, the Bloodline has undergone major changes as Solo Sikoa has assumed leadership of the group. He has been making major decisions without consulting Paul Heyman. On the SmackDown after Mania, he replaced Jimmy Uso with Tama Tonga in the faction. Earlier this month, Sikoa also welcomed Tonga Loa to the group. On a recent edition of SmackDown, Sikoa confronted Paul Heyman after the latter disclosed that he was not in touch with Roman Reigns. The former NXT North American champion claimed that the tribal chief appointed him to lead the Bloodline in his absence. However, many fans are skeptical about his claim. If Solo Sikoa's claim turned out to be false, what would be the repercussions? Here are 3 potential punishments for the Enforcer if he is lying about his recent chat with the tribal chief. Number 1, Roman Reigns removes Solo Sikoa from the faction. Solo Sikoa has asserted that he is in touch with Roman Reigns amid the latter's WWE hiatus. To validate his claim, the Wiseman may contact the tribal chief in the coming weeks. If it is discovered that Sikoa's claim is unfounded and he has not communicated with Reigns following WrestleMania, there can be significant repercussions. When Roman Reigns returns, he can excommunicate Sikoa from the group for lying and mistreating Heyman. The head of the table may also discipline Bloodline's fresh recruits, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, since they were involved too. Number 2, Reigns replaces Sikoa with Jacob Fatu. The Bloodline saga is known for its unforgettable debuts and comebacks. Reigns might just continue the trend by recruiting Jacob Fatu to the faction and removing Sikoa. The tribal chief is a master manipulator, and he could easily persuade Fatu to join his cause if WWE plans to book a civil war within the group. For those unaware, Jacob Fatu is a member of the Anoa'i family and a former world champion. If Sikoa and Tonga attempt to turn on their leader, Fatu could come to the aid of the real tribal chief. Number 3, the tribal chief may send Jimmy Uso to take out Solo Sikoa. Jimmy Uso hasn't made an appearance on WWE WWE TV since Solo Sikoa booted him out of the Bloodline on the SmackDown after WrestleMania. Meanwhile, reports have indicated that Jimmy has suffered an undisclosed injury, forcing him to be on the sidelines for the foreseeable future. If the injury isn't serious, he could make his return soon and take out Sikoa by the orders of Reigns. The Enforcer possibly kicked Jimmy Uso out of the faction because the latter refused to betray his longtime leader. Jimmy and Reigns might be in contact, and the latter could instruct his cousin to teach the Enforcer a lesson by taking him out. Jimmy could also make an appearance on Raw to express remorse for his past actions and unite with Jey Uso. The twins might eventually take on Sikoa in Reigns' absence. Roman Reigns returns to WWE as a babyface, with "We Want Roman" chants serenading Sikoa and his group in almost every segment, ringing louder each time. This fan sentiment has raised a very important question. Should the head of the table return as a heel or a babyface? There are great arguments to be made for either scenario, but it feels like a heroic return is the better option. Here are 4 reasons why Roman Reigns must return to WWE as a babyface. Number 1. Roman Reigns returning to WWE as a babyface would be better for Solo Sikoa. Since Roman Reigns was dethroned at WrestleMania XL, Solo Sikoa has begun to come into his own as a top heel on WWE SmackDown. The Street Champ has successfully remodeled the Bloodline to his liking, effectively garnering heat while appearing as a top threat. Having secured victory over Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, and then put the prize fighter on the shelf, the group is climbing up the ladder in the Stamford-based promotion. It would harm their momentum a lot if Roman Reigns returned as a heel and overshadowed Sikoa. However, if the tribal chief returned as a babyface, the ensuing conflict would work wonders for all involved. Solo's days as the tribal heir to the throne are over, and he should be allowed to take his shot at leadership, whether he sinks or swims. The only way this happens is if Reigns returns as a babyface. Number 2. Recent events in the Bloodline point to Roman Reigns returning to WWE as a babyface. Since Roman Reigns' last appearance in WWE, the Bloodline has transformed into a nearly unrecognizable new version. Solo Sikoa has transitioned from the tribal heir to the mutinous usurper, Paul Heyman from confident mouthpiece to cowering hostage, and Jimmy Uso from trusted lieutenant to discarded castoff. The new Bloodline, consisting of Sikoa, Tama Tonga, the Wiseman, and Tonga Loa, bears little resemblance to the family that Reigns built. Will the tribal chief just roll with the changes made in his absence by the Enforcer, presumably under his orders? Will the Usos' younger brother just relinquish his newfound power? Will Reigns let Solo's harsh treatment of his Wiseman slide? It is not likely, which is why a babyface turn is a safe bet. Number 3. The Rock is a big reason why Roman Reigns must return to WWE as a babyface. WWE's pivot to Cody Rhodes finishing his story created an interesting dynamic in the Bloodline on the road to WrestleMania XL. The Rock, initially slated to face a heel Roman Reigns as a babyface, had to turn heel eventually and join the Bloodline. This led the initial story into a direction much more popular with the audience, allowing the American Nightmare to unforgettably dethrone the tribal chief at the Show of Shows this year. However, a huge elephant in the room was left unaddressed in the Bloodline. Who is the true head honcho of the family? Did the final boss truly fall in line with the tribal chief? There have been a series of subtle signs that the Great One will turn against his cousin and seize control of the family. The Brahma Bull's heel character is much fresher than the head of the tables, so it makes more sense for the latter to be a babyface when they eventually collide. Reigns must return to WWE as a babyface to prevent him from being overshadowed by his cousin, who is arguably a bigger, more powerful heel. Additionally, a babyface heel dynamic will make their eventual clash better, and the Great One is not about to turn face given the fact that he will likely face Cody Rhodes as a heel first. Number 4. Roman Reigns' heel persona revolved around the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Upon his WWE return in 2020, Roman Reigns executed a long overdue heel turn masterfully, and with good reason. Many fans had grown jaded towards the big dog persona, while Reigns himself needed something new to be able to elevate his bloodline, potential opponents, and the Universal Championship itself. In the storyline, he needed the championship to provide for his family and make everyone acknowledge him. Fast forward to 2024, the Tribal Chief's run as the villain has hit all targets quite perfectly. There is little left to do for the domineering version of the Tribal Chief as a villain beyond pursuing a rematch with Cody Rhodes, a story that should arguably not be revisited soon. If he is not reclaiming the title that was central to his heel character, is there any reason to keep Reigns as a villain? The time is right to turn babyface, especially since he has done all he could with the greatest prize in the company, and it helped him earn the acknowledgement he so craved.